All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. This is Michael Dorsey here in Alpharetta, Georgia. Want to welcome everybody to our weekly personal development Zoom. This week we're going to start off the first part of Mel Robbins' book, The 5 Second Rule. And I remember she came out to one of our big conventions that we had a few years back. I don't remember the year it was where she spoke, but she really came into notoriety when she did a TED Talk. And her background was, she has a law degree and she's a researcher, and so a couple things that really was really cool once she was speaking at our event live. I remember being on the second row, just looking up and just listening to her. And I bought the book right away and I read it, and it was just a great book to read itself. And really, she was very vulnerable, and she talked about how she was, she suffered from depression and suffered from anxiety that would just really kind of overtake her. And so therefore it would stop her from doing a lot of things. And especially like in the winter time, in Boston, where she's from. And I remember her just being very, very open and very, transparent about how she felt at different times. And if you don't follow her on Instagram or Facebook, please do. She always has some amazing posts. She's got a great podcast. It's great to listen to her. She adds a lot of value. She's a very smart lady. But basically the book just gets into it, and the rule, the 5 second rule. We all know about the 5 second rule. If you drop a piece of food or something, you pick it up 5 seconds. They say you got 5 seconds to eat it before it's contaminated or something. Whatever that means. But we all remember that when we were younger. But just right up front, the rule itself, the core idea is very simple. When you have an instinct to act on a goal, you physically move within 5 seconds or your brain kills the idea. Now, she did a lot of research on this. And so you do this countdown. You guys remember, like, if you watch a video or if you watch a rocket launch or a space shuttle launch, it's always 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Same thing with the 5 second rule. You go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but you have to physically make a gesture, physically move in that direction. So let's just say you're trying to get out of bed in the morning because it's so cozy, right? It's winter, it's raining outside, and you're just really cozy in your bed, right? And you don't want to get up. So in your head, you automatically start, the 5 second countdown. For me, and you can make it whatever you want it to be. For me, I do a 3 second countdown. And there are times when it just absolutely helps. When I just don't feel like I just don't want to get out of bed. I'll do 3, 2, 1, and I'll just move my hand. Every single time it works. I'll pull the covers back and jump up and just sit up in bed and get moving. If it's about prospecting, um, about maybe if I'm looking to hand out a business card to somebody for my business, and maybe I have the chicken in my head that's making me hesitate. I will literally just go 3, 2, 1, and reach for my pocket to pull out a business card and start walking towards that prospect or that potential or that person. If I'm having a conversation with them, and I just hand out the card to say, "Hey, great, my name's Michael, Dorsey. I work here in the area, expanding my company. If I can ever help you out, would you please give me a call?" And I'll hand them a card, and I always feel good about that. If it's about making a prospecting phone call and I'm hesitating, I just, 3, 2, 1, pick up the phone and start dialing the phone number and let it start ringing and know exactly what I'm going to say. So it's like this is applicable to every area of life. It's like if you're hesitating to go work out, the rule itself, that core idea, and what she said is when she researched it, she gets into the book and she said, when she really got into the research behind the psychology of it, it just works because of how our system, how we are, how our brain works, and it really has helped a lot of people overcome things that and really accomplish things that they may not have done before because of the psychology of the 5 second rule. So whatever it is for you, if it's five, four, three, two, one, you have to physically move. So the core idea is simple. When you have that instinct, act on that goal, you must physically move within 5 seconds, or your brain kills the idea. Okay, or the moment's lost. Like if you want to go talk to that attractive person, if you're single, and you hesitate, instead of doing that, you start to develop these patterns where you can apply this to every area. Even if you're standing in line at the airport and you are wanting to get on a maybe upgrade to first class, or if there's any extra seats on in first class or something like that, and you're kind of nervous to ask, the flight attendant or the agent, if the airline agent behind the counter, why not ask, right? So you just do these things, and it's funny because she started giving references after references after references of people wanting to sit on the right behind home plate at a Major League Baseball game or something like that, or they want to sit on front row at a basketball game or football game on the 50-yard line or something like that. So those are little things that you can do to at least ask, because the thing is that most people, that fear or that anxiety is doubt, and that doubt kills the dream, and it kills the ideas faster than anything else. So just make the move. So you have to physically move towards that process. And so that's really what was really cool, what I found out about that, because I actually started using it in just, small areas of life, and it really does work. The second part of that is it interrupts negative patterns. So you can actually do that. We all have that voice in our head that sometimes talks about, it helps, maybe you have that little negative voice saying, "Oh, you can't do it," or, I feel so dumb in this situation, or that was stupid, or whatever. We have that voice. We have to be very, very aware and pay attention to that inside voice, and make sure that you are saying the right things to yourself, because your brain believes what you tell it. It's pretty simple. I mean, my dad used to tell myself and my sisters, garbage in, garbage out. So if you put garbage in your mind, garbage is going to come out as a result of that. And so you have to be positive. So it interrupts negative patterns. And you can do that. It actually, the rule itself, it helps break, cycles of like procrastination. It overcomes fear. I always say action defeats fear. Well, use the 5 second rule to take action, right? It overcomes self-doubt. Maybe it disrupts your habitual thought patterns, something that you've been doing for a long time, and it actually creates that decisive action to take action towards something. And you can break that. And psychologists have always said that it takes 21 days to form a new behavior, maybe a positive behavior, or break a negative behavior. It takes 21 days. And they also say that it takes 10,000 hours to master any subject. Okay. And so it's just one of those things where if you are pouring into yourself, you're working on yourself, you're spending, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day reading a good book, personal development, watching a good podcast. I make sure that I'm on YouTube and I watch Jim Rohn, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas. I mean, I watch and listen to all of them every day in the morning now, and it's something that's really helped me in a big way. I always listen to audios because I've got a full library on my phone with Jim Rohn or Brian Tracy or whoever, and I'm constantly listening to that. But it's a really cool thing to where this 5 second rule is applicable to all of these different books that I've read and all of these different ideas. And if there's things that maybe you are hesitating to do, you can stop that hesitation and start working in that direction. So I think, she did a wonderful job. Mel Robbins did in this book. It's a great read. If you don't have it yet, just read through it. And I would say do it more than once over the next few years, and really start to apply those ideas, because it's a simple idea. The countdown is easy. We all have heard it, seen it, done it in our own minds. We interrupt negative patterns by using it. The next thing I would just say, and the last thing for today, would be it builds courage. and confidence, because each time that you use the rule, it actually pushes yourself to act. And whether it's speaking up or getting out of bed or tackling something difficult, you build that inner trust and that personal power, that personal power of where you feel like, I got this. I got this. It builds that confidence, and it's something that you just have to do. I mean, even if it's something like setting boundaries in your life. I've learned that recently, just making sure you set the right boundaries in your life and make sure that you are making the most important thing, the main thing, and keeping, yourself and what you're trying to accomplish in life at the forefront. So, those are things that I think really, really work. I tell you that just read the book or listen to the audio. I would do it over and over again. She just did a phenomenal job, but she blew up on as a result of her TED Talk. It was like 1 million, 2 million views, and it just, I mean, I don't know what it is now, but that was like 5, 6, 7 years ago when we first saw her on stage at one of our Legal Shield conferences, and I thought it was really pretty cool. How strong she was, and you felt like she was talking right to you, right? And there's some speakers that you feel like, hey man, I feel like a personal connection, even though there's 1,000 people in the crowd. But you felt a personal connection, and so she just did a really good job. So make sure you do follow her, on Instagram, and Facebook, and on YouTube. Do whatever you need to do. So, what I want to do now is, if you guys have any comments or questions or anything like that, go ahead and raise your hand, hit the react button, and just, like John Wynn just did, Mikkel Hancock, as always, appreciate you guys doing that. And what we'll do is we'll just listen in on a couple of comments and stuff. And hopefully you guys are getting some more out of this book. And we'll talk about the next half of the book next week. So appreciate you guys getting on. Let's go ahead and go over to John Wynn, who is driving. John, over to you.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir. You sound good.
Yeah. Love the call, Mike. I love that book. I remember her on stage, and I immediately started to use that. And just like you said, I would use it in the morning, like getting out of bed. You're all cozy. And I would
Yeah.
say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and boom, I'd get up. And I'll never forget it. I used it. My daughter's birthday, I think she was, I don't know, 10 or 12. We went to Jonas Brothers, and we had pretty good seats, but she was with a little friend. And I used it and walked up to one of the guards and put some money in his hand, and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I asked him. I said, "Hey, it's my daughter's birthday. Will you walk us up to the stage?" And he did. He was like surprised that I gave him money, and he took me and
Yeah.
Mackenzie and her best friend right to the front stage, and the Jonas Brothers came right up. They were like singing to her. So it
Oh,
just gives you that confidence and go do it. Get outside of your comfort zone. And I tell you, I still use it, but using something like that over and over again, you come to a point where sometimes you don't need it, because you're just so, like you said, going up to a stranger and giving them your card, you
right.
know, I don't know. I feel like I'm more confident now, and where sometimes I don't even have to use it. But again, sometimes like those mornings, go for a walk, go for a run, go for a workout, 5, 4, 3,
Right.
2, 1, boom, and it just works. But it's cool that we can use it for all different kind of things. And I was so fortunate to see her, like you said, and read this book. It's been a blessing. But anyway, good stuff, Michael. Back to you, buddy.
All right. Thanks. Hey, I appreciate that. I appreciate the, the comments and the actual usage of it. That was really cool. All right. Let's go to Linda Lamb. Linda, over to you. You should be able to unmute.
Oh, yeah, I got it. It took me a
Yeah.
minute to get the pointer going, but anyway, thank you so much for this. I was there when she spoke. She was amazing. I got the book. I read the book. I, in fact, re-listened to it last year. I
Good.
guess my challenge is I have so much stuff coming in and going around and whirling around in my head. What did you do to make sure you remembered to do it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We get this stuff and then oh, that's great. And then we go on to the next book. And, I still have Jim Rohn in my head from
Yeah.
2008.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. You know what you can do? Pop a
Uh,
pop a post-it note on your mirror in the morning and just put 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. a Post-it note to remind you every day when you get up in the morning, you're brushing your teeth, and maybe you put it on your steering wheel or on your dashboard in your car. So when you're in your car, it's just one of those reminders. It's one of those little things that continues to remind you. That's what I do. I do that with goals when when I'm going for right now, it's just Diamond ED 1 million a year. And that's my goal, right? So I have those things on Post-it notes everywhere I go. So it's important to do that, but you got to remind yourself of that. I remember we were first chasing executive director, in Legal Shield, and it was on my screensaver back then. It was in my car on Post-it notes. It was on my mirror. It was everywhere. And so I just constantly did that. You can put it on your phone. I mean, I have a little statement on my phone that I put in there every day, just a different one. Whether it's kindness is free or 5 exposures, whatever. I know what it means to me. So it's just constantly remind yourself. So use Post-it notes. They work. Hopefully that helps. All right, let's go to Mr. Mikkel Hancock. How are you, sir?
Mr. Dorsey, I'm doing phenomenal, sir. I appreciate that. I was there at that convention. I was sitting in the nosebleed sections. It was my first one. I drove 18 and a half hours to get there. I brought
Wow.
a $700 camera so I can feel like that I was sitting up close, so I can get everybody up close.
Wow.
And man, I got the book, got it autographed and everything, and I used it, I used it, I used it. And to this day, I still use it. Like John Wynn said, getting out of bed. I'm not, I'm gonna sit here, I'll be honest. I don't like when it's time for me to get up. And it's not even an alarm anymore. Most of the time I just get up when my wife rolls over to get up. I don't
Yep.
like when I have to get up, but I'm 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Yep.
And it helped out with approaching people for my business. It helped out with a lot of things. As the old saying goes, we'll never defeat fear, but we can starve it.
Yep.
We
I
can't
love
defeat it.
that.
We'll never get rid of it, but we can starve it. And
Oh
that
man.
phrase is part of starving fear. That is a part of starving fear. So I appreciate you, sir. Thank you so much for that. Back over to you.
All right, thanks, Mikkel. Appreciate you and appreciate your comments. And you can't, defeating fear, but you can starve fear. And action defeats fear in terms of that. Action starves fear too. And the 5-second rule allows you and I and all of us to physically move and take action as a result of using it. Just try it. The next time you don't feel like getting out of bed, try it. I promise you it works. Just got to physically move in that direction within 5 seconds of that countdown, or your brain kills the idea. But the reality is that, it works. It just flat out works. And it's really a funny thing, when you actually use it. All right. We got one more comment. Great. We got the great Keith Thickens over
Oh,
you, my friend.
thanks, my friend. I wanted to come in and listen today, but I can't help myself because I was there too when
Yeah.
she spoke. And what an amazing event that was. And what I got from it when I came back and started using it, I really called it the cure for procrastination.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal with what we do with our business because sometimes we wait to the last minute. But when you use that, she called it a trick. When you use that trick, then it simply allows you to start doing things right away. And I also look at it at being consciously aware of what you're doing with your life. Because most of the times we go through life, if we're being honest, kind of robotically. You go to work, come home, go to, eat food, sit on the sofa. So it's like robotic. But then when we start being aware of what we want to do with our lives and we start commanding or taking control of our mindset, it makes a big difference in our productivity on a day-to-day basis. And
Yeah.
that's one of the reasons why I really liked that book and what she had to share, because so many times we really need to really take control of our lives and move forward. So thanks for
Okay.
allowing me to share, Michael.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, no, I appreciate you sharing, Keith, just doing a great job. We appreciate you. We look forward to seeing everybody out in Baltimore. If you're part of Legal Shield, this will be posted up on the YouTube channel as always. And there's a lot of great videos and a lot of great books that we reviewed and a lot of great comments from people. So just, use it as a resource. One of the things I make sure I subscribe to are all the folks I talked about, including Mel Robbins. And then, I like watching the little 12-minute or 20-minute videos that they have sometimes. And sometimes I go into a rabbit hole where I'm watching 3 hours of just really good information, maybe an hour's at a time or something like that when I have that kind of time. But it's something that's very, very good I like to fall asleep to that kind of stuff. It's either that or comedy. So I don't want to fall asleep to watching negative news. I want to fall asleep to something that's positive, that I'm listening to, and, turning everything off and just that's the last thing that I'll do is I'll make sure that I put something positive in my head, so that I, have the best day I can possibly have. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you, man. Love you guys. And we'll have this up on Michael Dorsey Pro at the YouTube channel here shortly. Thank you so much. Have a great night and great week. Take care.